South African children are paying the price for water scarcity, soil and water pollution. A report by UNICEF says those issues are threatening health, education and protection of children and young people in this country. Let's discuss this with the UNICEF Global Report findings, with Christine Muhigana, who is the United Nations body's representative here in South Africa. Christine, grateful for your time on this Sunday. Welcome to Newsfeed PM. Speak to us more about how the country's children are basically suffering as a result of pollution.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having UNICEF on your platform this afternoon. We just issued a report which is entitled "The Climate Crisis is a Child Rights Crisis." And through this report, UNICEF is introducing what we're calling a Children's Climate Risk Index, which is the very first comprehensive analysis of climate risk from a child's perspective. And what this index is doing is looking at both how children are exposed to climate change and environment degradation, and also their vulnerability. So we're looking at whether the services are there, whether health, whether sanitation, whether protection are there to mitigate somehow this impact of climate change on them. So in the particular instance of South Africa, what we see is that water scarcity, soil and water pollution are threats to children and young people in South Africa. And we're calling for partners to join us. We're, of course, already working with the government to make sure that we, are aware of these threats and particular vulnerabilities of children and young people in South Africa, and make sure that we work on mitigating, having resilient services to address these issues.
And are there specific areas in South Africa that are seeing the worst of these impacts? Absolutely.
Climate change and extreme weather events in South Africa, such as drought and floods, can deplete and contaminate water supplies, which in turn create unsafe water and sanitation. And in our particular case in South Africa, we fear, or we're concerned about the worsening situation of undernutrition, of malnutrition. As you know, in South Africa, we have more than 27% of children under 5 years of age who are already stunted, and the impact of unsafe water could, worsen such situations.
And do South African authorities hold the likes of mining companies who extract minerals and in the process pollute crucial resources such as water and air? Are they held adequately responsible?
So what we're trying to do through the awareness that we raised through this report is to make sure that we work with all stakeholders so that we make sure that those who contribute to worsening the environment are with us in order to mitigate and change their behavior, so that the situations such as the ones that you are describing now is something that we know and address together with the mining industry, with government, with communities.
Final question then, Christine. I know UNICEF, even globally, is looking at bringing in young people more in discussions and agreements around climate change and, of course, pollution agreements for those who live in mining communities, for example. How do you see that working in real terms?
So in real terms, we see that already happening, actually. In June this year, on Youth Day, on the 16th of June, we released a declaration which was issued by young people in South Africa, which was bringing to the attention of decision makers, of partners in development, that they need to be a part of the discussions, of the decisions around climate change mitigation. So we are supporting these young people. We will continue to give them a platform to express their views and also to be a part of the solutions that we're trying to find together in addressing the impact of the climate crisis, which, as we want to underline as UNICEF with our partners, that this is a crisis of child rights.
Mm-hmm. Christine Muhigana from UNICEF, good to speak to you this morning. Well, this afternoon, Christine, speaking to us about the impacts of soil and water pollution, just among the factors that are affecting South African kids in the worst way possible, as per research that they've done recently, and that report out earlier this week.